All right, guys, live for the one last NBA stream before the season comes to a close. Rejoined by two NBA experts, Ali, Michael, back at it again, and new to the Dubcast channel, first time caller, long time listener, just subscribed a couple weeks ago, Gabe. Welcome to the Dubcast. So I would ask you to introduce yourself, but every time I do that, everyone just doesn't say anything. So we'll jump right in. Obviously, we have a lot to talk about. We will talk about the coaching change in New York after that series happens. So we'll keep that on the back burner, but we'll start with the offseason news, starting with the NBA MVP being announced. It is Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. Michael, we'll go to you first. What is your instant reaction, aka like 3 weeks later reaction to Shai beating Nikola Jokic? Your brother came on this podcast. I forget who he was rooting for specifically, but he did have a large wager on it. So your takes, Shai MVP 2024-25 season.
Yeah. I kind of had Jokic winning it in my mind, just how bad the Nuggets were without him, and how good the roster of OKC is. But I guess NBA awards voters just are tired of Jokic winning every year and being the best player in the league for the last 5 years. So they had to find someone to give it to. I mean, obviously, SGA had a great year, MVP level year. It was kind of only a two-man race. But yeah, props to him. It'll be Jokic again next year. Lock it in.
You think?
Yeah.
Why?
The Nuggets can't do anything. They have no cap room. It's the same team unless they trade NBA. And if he has another year like he did this year, I think that's a MVP year.
Okay. Gabe, anything to add? I know you mentioned voter fatigue in our always popping group chat. Did you want to say anything on behalf of Jokic here?
Well, I mean, he deserved it, but I didn't ever think he was going to win it. It was kind of obvious they wanted somebody else to win the whole year. But I don't know. He'll be back in the running again next year, just like Mike said. So I guess it's not the worst. It's happened to players before. So, but I think if anybody watched that series between the two, I think it was pretty obvious who should have been the MVP.
Ali, anything to add to this lively discussion? Okay, we can't hear you. I don't know. I don't think I care that. Yeah, we can't hear you at all. I don't know if I care that much. I think how many MVPs has Jokic won? 3 or 4?
3
or 2. Okay, so he has 3.
Should have been 5. Should be 5.
We can't hear you. Still, this is really good podcasting. I don't know. I think
the Embiid MVP was stupid.
Just that saying. One was yeah. Well, the NBA MVP more than any other sport, I think, is based off narrative, and it's tough to say, but every year it's like we can't give it to LeBron every year, or else we can't give it to Jokic every year, or else isn't there only a couple people who have won 4 MVPs? It's like LeBron has won 4, Kobe maybe, Jordan.
Kobe won 1.
Yeah. Okay, my bad. There's like only 2 or 3 guys. I think the writers who votes in this. That the Bill Simmons and of the world.
Writers. It's dumb.
Okay. Well, I don't know how you fix the system and fix the voter fatigue, but I don't know. I think they're not going to let Jokic join that group for another year or 2. I wouldn't be surprised if Jokic doesn't win again next year. He's been pretty healthy, so that's good for him, but we'll see if that longevity continues. Hello.
You hear me?
Yes.
Okay.
We were just talking about I think they don't want to give it to Jokic because he joins that elite group of players. Did you have anything to add to this conversation before we move on?
I was just going to say best player on the best team in the league. I thought it kind of made sense for this season, I guess. For Shai, I mean.
Yeah, it kind of just depends on your definition of MVP. Is it best player and best team, or is it the guy most important to his specific team?
I mean, Jokic is clearly the better player too. I don't think anyone's doubting that. I feel like
Yeah.
you could argue that Shea had a better
It was,
season.
yeah, I think it was the wins that
Yeah.
changed it. Like they had like what 65 wins or something like that compared to 40 something for the Nuggets. But
Okay.
yeah.
Shea finally ored his way to MVP. All right, moving on. Next one. We can quickly go around the horn if anyone has anything to say about this. Nuggets naming David Adelman full-time head coach. Was their coach in the playoffs. Got them a playoff series win over the Clippers in 7 games. Ultimately lose to the Thunder, who are still going to be here at the end of the NBA Finals. Anyone have any takes on David Adelman and anyone you wanted to see them hire that isn't David Adelman or anything? Ali, we can start with you if you want. Okay, and she's gone again. Gabe, Grizzlies interim have gone interim route before, right? Or they are interim right now.
Yeah, I mean they hired their guy after getting swept by the Thunder, so it makes sense that Nuggets would hire their guy after going to 7. I mean, he did a good job. He almost won against the who I think is probably going to be, not to get ahead of the show or whatever, the eventual NBA champs. But so I think he earned it.
Michael, anything to add on our guy David?
Not really. I feel like both them and the Grizzlies were kind of in the same boat. Like at the beginning of the year, they probably should have just, or before this year, they probably should have just got rid of their coach if they were gonna just screw him.
Yeah, well,
Completely
I'm
agree.
excited. I'm excited to talk to you about this. Another sports season, another podcast. We're talking about a New York head coaching search, but we'll get to that in just a second. There's some names out there for sure. No, we still can't hear you.
For real?
Okay, now we can hear
you're
you.
exactly.
Good.
All right, battling audio issues. I noticed you were on mute when you were trying to talk before, so maybe to keep that in mind.
No, it's because
Okay.
it connected to my phone.
Anything else to add to this off-season discussion? Obviously, the most exciting part of the NBA season will be coming up shortly when free agency begins and the trades. Giannis, don't know if we've got anywhere with Giannis. Who else is out there? KD. Anything?
Yeah.
Nikhil Alexander Walker's a free agent. Yes, sir. Naz
True.
Reid.
Naz Reid, maybe.
I heard Naz Reid might leave, and that Minnesota core might be torn apart.
Maybe we'll see some more Suns moves, I feel like. I don't know. They kind of seem like they're stuck. I don't know. Maybe.
KD to Houston kind of seems inevitable.
Yeah, I would agree. Kind of wonder if. I don't
Someone
know.
was texting me a Durant. I don't know if it was you, Ali. Someone was saying Durant to Boston for KP. Oh, no.
Yeah,
I
the
know.
Suns apparently want a center.
Foreign center. You know, we like Suns like the foreign
Saw
center.
some stuff about them training for Cat too.
Mm-hmm.
It's gonna be all
The
over
Suns or the
place, like
Celtics?
Suns.
Suns.
Okay. They can have them. All right, we'll move on to the important meat of the discussion. Of course, we start in the Eastern Conference. Michael, I'm sorry. We have to throw it right on you. Do you want to hear people's takes on this, or do you want to go first on what we saw occur in this Eastern Conference?
The only thing I'll say is that it was a shame that we had to listen to Reggie the entire series. And then
Dude, but without Reggie, there's no NBA on TNT.
With him celebrating with the team after the win on the court, like, be better. But, you know, what are you
Stephen
gonna
A.
do?
Smith was first take every morning. Colin and I on the cruise were watching, and he's like, "Oh, Halliburton sucks. Halliburton's on the same level as Jamal Murray." Like, what?
And no Knicks fan liked Stephen A. So
If I was a Knicks fan, I'd love Stephen A.
no shot. He's okay.
That doesn't even
Like during last year's playoffs, he was praising Quentin Grimes for how well he played in the 76ers series while he was on the Detroit Pistons. So
I love Paul Pierce, what he does for the Celtics media.
So that's your only comment is Reggie Miller?
Yeah. Well, I'll talk at the end. That's all for now.
Okay.
Dude, Mike Breen was commenting on the series before, and he's a Knicks fan. So
yeah, but he's actually good, unlike Reggie.
Reggie Miller is pretty bad. We'll
Doris
start.
Burke makes my ears bleed, woman to woman. Like, I hate her.
we'll start with Gabe. We haven't heard your thoughts on this Knicks team run. Michael obviously has some very, mean things to say about the Pacers. Seems like there's some bad blood there. There has been for the past couple of years. So, what was your take on this series? Did the Knicks overachieve, or are they just a worse team than the Pacers? What are your takes coming out of this series?
I'd say they're probably like more of an equal team, but I mean, you blew the game one, which was crucial. Like, you had that one in the bag, and then Neesmith turned into God. So, like, you'd have that one back. You're going to a game 7 in the Garden. So, like, you probably have a good shot of making it out of that. But you put yourself in a bad position, and the Pacers are, like, they're not easy route. I think last year the Pacers kind of lucked their way into the conference finals, but I think this year they definitely earned it.
Ali?
Yeah, I think the Pacers are just the better team. They play so fast, and that's not how the Knicks want to play. Once the Knicks get in the half-court offense, I mean, I think we were talking about it in the group chat earlier. I think Mikey said that the starting five's net rating is god-awful, and that seems to be the theme is once they get into the half-court offense, it's just like, Cat or Brunson, just please go iso ball and score for us. Like, there's just no, I don't know. So I feel like the Pacers kind of, pressing full court, putting them hard on Brunson to make it difficult, tiring them out, and then you run as soon as someone gets the rebound. You crash 2, and then the other 3 run. I think they just wore them down kind of over time, and I'm not surprised that the Pacers won. I thought they were really good this whole season. I think Halliburton is legit. And Siakam was very good too.
All right, let's ask the real questions. Is Halliburton a superstar?
No. He's like a tier below.
Nah, he's a superstar.
Depends on your definition of superstar.
He's at like Dame level. Like, he's going to be the face of the franchise, but he's not like a superstar.
Dame was a superstar.
No. Dame was in Portland. He didn't have the right market.
Well, what's your definition of a superstar?
Okay, so we're saying market. So then Giannis is a superstar.
Caitlin Clark owns Indiana.
That's fair, but that doesn't mean he's not
Wisconsin's
a superstar.
a great.
I would say in this
town,
league, no. There's like 5 superstars, I'd say.
All right, well then, yeah, he's not a. I guess he's not
like
a superstar.
a tier below. Like, he's right below it.
So who would you say Ant Edwards is a superstar?
Yes.
So there's only 5, and Ant Edwards is one of them. So
it's like
okay.
LeBron.
Here's the one. Tatum.
Yes.
Oh, okay.
No.
Look at the commercials.
Wait, so
he has.
Ant and Tatum are a superstar? That only leaves 3 other players.
Yeah.
LeBron,
Yoke, Shea.
Not Steph.
Steph too.
Not
6.
Luka.
No, not Luka.
All
Missing,
right.
guys, fill in the gaps. Jalen Brunson.
Not Brunson either.
KD.
Not anymore. He was.
I think KD.
I think KD tarnished his
Did you
reputation
say
a long time
Giannis?
ago.
Giannis.
Yeah, that's fair. Okay, so
All
maybe
right.
we're looking at like what? 8 then?
We'll get up to 10. Cade. No, not
I
Cade.
think you guys would agree he's not a superstar, but he's right there. Like, he's also 24. Him and Ant are like gonna be the not the face of the league because that's Tatum. They're gonna be running this league for the next like 10 years. They're not even in their prime yet.
Yeah, that's crazy that Halliburton's like.
Halliburton's your guys' age. Like,
I know.
Yeah,
That's
he's a
one that
weenie.
always puts it in perspective. What makes you hate Halliburton so much, Michael? Because you share a similar sentiment to the New York fan base. I feel like there's some sort of rivalry here between Tyrese Halliburton. So what started this? Obviously, the playoffs last 2 years. Take that out of it because I think it happened even before then. It was like Halliburton versus Brunson. So what makes you hate Tyrese Halliburton? Because I feel like it's pretty hard to hate him from just a casual
it's hard
point
to
of view.
hate him. He's a weenie.
What does that mean, though?
But I don't know. It's just the Indiana New York whole rivalry dating back to like the 90s and then early 2000s and then 2012 like Carmelo time.
Roy Hibbert
I
time.
don't know. Yeah, exactly. He's just like an annoying player to watch. And yes.
I feel like the thing with the Knicks fan base, I'm not saying it's like soft necessarily, but it's like sensitive to players that are going to take on the villain role that will embrace the crowd in the Garden. Trae Young did it. Halliburton does it. They love these big moments when the lights are on, the crowd is cheering, fuck you, blah, blah, blah. You got Timothy Chalamet.
They're gonna
So they
choose to
fucked
be the
up.
villain, so we're gonna choose to hate him. Like,
But you
Let's
started
go.
it.
definitely not.
You didn't start the
Definitely
fuck Trae
not
Young
started
chance,
it.
and then he hits all these floater game winners.
All right, Trae Young's a different story
I mean, maybe.
because
I
he's
don't
not
know.
good.
Oh my god.
He was
beat-
very
he
good in
beat
the
a
series
Knicks-
against the Knicks.
Yeah, he beat a Knicks team that should not have been there, and was like, "I'm God," and then decided to go to the Eastern Conference Finals in a fake run, and then has been in the play-in ever since. So he's fake.
Well, keep in mind his
Um,
team did just get the first overall pick and drafted probably going to be a career 36% 3-point shooter, and that's all he's ever going to be.
Wow, hating on the French guys.
Am I wrong?
Disrespect.
All right, we don't need
I
to
don't know, he
dive
had
into
some good
Zachary
games.
Ricochet here. We're talking
The
Knicks.
Ricochet.
Talking Knicks Pacers.
right,
So you didn't really,
yeah.
but it's a
Sorry.
rivalry thing. Okay, got it. Where
Rivalry
were we
thing.
before that? Halliburton is a superstar to me and Gabe, not to Ali. Mikey, what's your take? Halliburton
Yeah,
superstar.
n-
Okay, he is a
no.
superstar.
I
Okay,
mean,
yeah,
I don't think he wants to be. Like maybe he wants to be, but the way they play, he's never going to be. Because
I think
to
he
be a
could potentially
superstar,
be a
you have
cool
to be able.
superstar that like takes it for the team and like some night like if Tatum's a superstar, then Tyrese Halliburton's a superstar. That's all I'm gonna say.
That's crazy.
They can do the same. You're telling me Tatum didn't have 9 points in the game like Halliburton? It's the same thing. They're very good.
Tatum's been in like 10 Eastern Conference Finals.
Halliburton's only 24.
Tatum was in 5 by the time he was 24.
Is that I don't even okay. Well, Halliburton's at 2, and maybe he could win a finals in a couple of days. Anyways, we're going on too much about the Pacers. We'll get to the Pacers eventually in their series against the Thunder. What happened here, Mikey? What's the answer for the Knicks? Obviously, I don't even know if we want to get into the Thibodeau stuff yet. I feel like we still need to break down some of the series.
All right. Yeah,
What percent?
so-
What percent? We'll get to you in a second. Ali. What percent are you blaming this on Thibodeau? And if not Thibodeau, then who else?
Thibodeau.
Sorry, Tom T. Who else would you blame it on besides Tom? If not Tom's fault, because I feel like you were a little bit taken aback by the move today. I felt in our text chain, but
In terms of blame, I would say it's probably like 50 coaching staff and then 50 the rest of the players, with some being higher than others. In terms of the series, I think Gabe said it, like game 1 was just absolutely crushing. Like to lose that game being up 9 with less than a minute to go, Aaron Nesmith going God mode for 4 minutes or however long it was.
Obi double clutch. Dagger. That's gotta hurt.
Yeah, OB dagger, that was definitely brutal. Yeah, once that happened, I was like I was still on they're gonna win the series in 7 bandwagon. I was still on Knicks in 7 when they went down 3-1. But I don't know. It was just their inability to get back in transition on defense really killed them. It was a lot of like they had the right idea trying to crash the offensive glass to negate the Pacers transition play because they're getting a bunch of offensive rebounds, which worked like in the first half of game 6. Mitchell Robinson was eating and they were playing well. But then they got tired or whatever happened, sending too many guys to offensive glass, and then Pacers have 45 points in transition in a game they cooked them in. I don't know. The rotation part of it, like that's a lot to get into, and it's been a Knicks fan dilemma for the entire time that Tibbs has been the coach, dating back to like Alfred Payton starting over Emmanuel Quickly and all that good stuff. So like whatever, that's whatever at this point. The cat on defense part of it is definitely a big deal going into the offseason. It'll be super interesting to see what they do there. I think like I said it in the group chat, it was in my mind Cat or Tibbs was gonna be gone. Like I thought they should run it back with everyone the same. Considering how far they got and how good they looked at times during the year. But like it seemed like through reports that they were going to get rid of at least one of those 2 guys And it's still possible to get rid of Cat for someone, like if they go crazy and just do something I think would be stupid. But yeah, it'll be definitely a very, very interesting off season for them.
All right, before we dig deeper into this next
Question?
offseason, first,
I'll be
before you
taking
raise your hand,
questions now.
we have some comments from the chat actually to get into.
Oh.
So Jake Freeland is here with us tonight. He wants to shout out Allie's point about this was when she was making the point about Trae Young and the Knicks fans embracing the villain and then being upset. I do agree that New York fans are pretty soft. Not specifically Mikey. I mentioned. I'm saying not you.
Is the right word. I think it's
Not
just like
soft, sensitive. I like that word.
defensive,
Sensitive.
like overly defensive. I'd
Yeah,
say.
yeah, I agree. Can
If
we
you're
get
not
some
gonna
thoughts?
defend your guys, what are you gonna do?
All right,
Just
but you
be like,
can't.
oh yeah,
There's a
not you.
length to what you do it.
It's not you, but you can't be front running when you're in the World Series, and then when you
the
lose
Knicks
the
are
game,
not front runners. The Pacers are front runners.
They just made the NBA Finals. They're not front runners.
Steph
Halliburton,
Curry is. It's true.
Halliburton doing the choking symbol in game one on a not game-winning shot is the definition of front running.
That's soft of you right now to be mad at the choke.
That was electric either way.
Yeah, that was the best
It
thing.
was like good for him. He had a crazy shot.
When you do that, you have to win, and they fucking won the game. So you got to give respect.
I didn't
Nonetheless.
say it was. Okay,
Okay.
go
Sorry.
ahead.
Some breaking the action. There's a lot of tension here. We'll go back to you, Michael. You're the only one who follows baseball. So your thoughts on Corey Seager? There was a monumental trade made in our fantasy baseball league. He's slumping to start the year. He's been on and off the injured list. Your take on Corey Seager?
Wasn't he the finals, the World Series MVP like 2 years ago?
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's my thoughts on him.
Wasn't he the finals MVP 2 years ago? Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Good thoughts. Here's another one. I was going to do this question, but I already revealed it. So if Brunson is a superstar, then Hallie is. I agree with this. In a theoretical world where Brunson is a superstar, Gabe, what do you think about this thought?
Yeah, I think if Brunson's a superstar, Hallie definitely is. I mean, I don't think it's a question. I think Hallie is anyway, so it's not that.
I agree. Even if you extend the list to like 10 to what Ali was saying, then I think you put Halliburton on that list. Last one before we get back into the Knicks. Who traded away Seager? I traded away Seager. He sucks. He's not good. He's always injured. Back in the Knicks. So Michael explained his. Ali, you wanted to rebut something Michael was explaining about the Knicks. Go ahead.
Well, he was saying the rotation stuff, and I agree with you. I'm not even trying to argue, but it's weird that later in the series he finally started using like DeLon Wright. We were on the cruise, and I was like, "Who the fuck even is this?" And I had to like ask someone.
You weren't following the news about DeLon Wright Street and
yeah,
He
literally
got traded. He got traded to the Knicks for Jericho Sims from the Bucks. Trade deadline move. Come on.
Oh, my bad.
Jericho could help out, man.
He actually turns to the bench and it works. And if they were like, maybe if they were able to do that earlier in the series, maybe that would have been a turning point. But I don't know. But the thing that I wanted to raise my hand about earlier was the article that came out literally like it was like 2 minutes before the game even ended about the frustrations internally with Cat. I think it was by like Bontemps and ESPN or something, maybe. I don't know. Was crazy.
It was Fred Katz and James Edwards III on The Athletic. But,
crazy stuff, because that to me, I thought that was gonna say they're trying to get rid of Cat, not Tibbs. But then they do Tibbs today. I still think a Cat move is in the picture, because that was clearly written in advance. Like it was talking about like multiple layers of frustration with the defensive rotations, with his effort on defense. You watch it and it's like he's nagging at the knee on defensive possessions, but then it's offense and he's running ready to go. He gets the ball. There's no knee problem. Like, I don't know. I think that's literally like it's ridiculous, but I think that's something to maybe keep an eye on. I would say like I'm kind of at the same rate as I am with like Jaylen Brown. Like we talked about it last episode, like 55% keep him, 45% wouldn't be surprised if he got traded.
I think Jaylen Brown has a way higher chance of being on the Celtics than Cat has of being on the Knicks next year.
I agree, but I think they're only going to be using a Giannis deal, both of them. That's the only time that either of them would get traded, I think. And both of them could very well get traded for Giannis too.
So, Michael, you
Um,
wanted to run it back. Would
yeah.
you be interested in a potential Giannis trade package centered around Cat?
I don't think they. I don't know if they can do it though, because it would have to
I
be
don't.
Cat and OG,
It would
or like
have to
Cat and
be,
Mikhail or
it
something,
would, I'm
because they
not
don't
in
have
the
a pick.
boat of trading either of Mikhail or OG. But on your point about the rotation being short and trusting Landry Shamet and DeLon Wright earlier in the playoffs and series, like if you're relying on those guys who probably shouldn't be in an NBA rotation, then
Yeah,
like what are you doing?
definitely
That's
not. But I
like
think you give
that's
them
when
4 minutes.
everyone's like, "Oh, you're playing your starters too much." Like if you're just gonna lose all the minutes when Landry Shamet and DeLon Wright's in the game, then what's the point in playing them at all? Like
No, I agree. I think
I get
that's
it
funny.
as the terms of like keeping your guys fresh and whatever, but we're in the playoffs and we're trying to win basketball games. We're not trying to keep our guys ready for 2 weeks from now if we have a chance to lose. But like on the other hand, the like I was saying before, the starting lineup minus any 4 starters and Deuce McBride was their best 4 lineups throughout the year. Like anytime it was 4 starters and him, they were disgusting. They outscored teams by like, I don't even know, 14 points per 100 possessions or something like that. And then all the starters together, 5 starters, was minus. Like it was really good at the beginning of the year, and then it just got worse and worse and worse and worse as teams either started to figure it out or they started to just get stale and not know how to play together anymore. I don't know what it was, but yeah, I don't know. It'll be an interesting off season, and I'm not looking forward to it because, yeah.
Dude, come on. It's the best time of the year. Staying up for Shams tweet. Now it's only Shams out there, so there's only one person you got to follow. No more Woj bombs. Gabe, you looked a little maybe like you're about to laugh at something Mikey was saying, a little maybe frustrated you weren't able to get a
I was
word in.
gonna make a joke. They needed some Kolek minutes. That was all.
They did. Yeah, where's my boy Kolek's minutes?
Kolek's going to be massive for them next year.
Is DeLon Wright a free agent?
Is point guard.
Okay, yeah. Let's get some minutes for him. He can space the floor. Like he's shown that at Marquette. I'm here for the Tyler Kolek minutes. Another comment from the chat. Best part of the NBA is the offseason. I agree. Doesn't seem like anyone else agrees with us on this channel. On this, it is.
We like basketball, so
I love basketball. I love college basketball. It makes my heart grow 3 sizes. So last thing, obviously, big news today out of New York. Tom Thibodeau is no longer the Knicks coach. I mean, we've kind of discussed the rotation thing at length, but I'd love to hear your top 3, Michael, who you're potentially looking at. I saw Michael Malone floated today. I know Johnny Bryant's a hot name in coaching circuits. There's some other contenders throwing the name out there, like Meta World Peace. Mark Jackson's always an option.
I saw that.
If they get Mark Jackson, like it's over. The Knicks are winning the next 3 championships. So do you want somebody
Rick
more
Brunson,
established?
come on.
Okay. Do you want to take?
Don't forget about Rick.
Do you want the more established route of becoming a championship guy like Malone? Do you want like a up and comer like this Johnny Bryant character who I don't know anything about, or do you want to take like a random stab at the wind? I saw a crazy idea I just saw floated before the stream. Chris Paul. Exactly.
I'm good on that.
Stephen A's plus 6,000.
Yeah, Stephen A. How about that? Throw 10, get 600. Why not? Throw 100, make 6,000. Listen, if maybe he gears up the Knicks, brings them to a championship, then he's ripe for a 2028 presidential run. Like this could be Stephen A's world, and we're just living in it, bro.
It could be.
So go ahead. Sorry.
Yeah. Tibbs, good man. Wish he stayed. Not surprised that they fired him. Sorry, relieved him of his duties.
I think he might be happy. Like he looked like he was every time they cut to him with the Celtics series, he looked like he was losing. Like every time in general, he looked like he was losing.
I saw some funny stuff today. He was like engaged earlier in his career, and he called off the engagement to focus on basketball. And everyone was saying that he's gonna find a wife now.
Respect.
It's great stuff.
Even though he's gonna get hired probably in like 2 days by somebody.
I don't know. He's like 70. I don't know. Coaching people, Johnny Bryant, former Nick assistant under Tibbs, was a big he was like Julius Randle's like one-on-one guy for a while, and then he was the top assistant under Tibbs before I think he went to I don't know somewhere this year. But I think he's going to be the head coach of the Suns, so I don't think that's going to be an option. I saw some stuff about Jason Kidd, which is like, I don't know, once a Nick, always a Nick. Has a little bit of head coaching experience, but didn't do great in Dallas. So I don't really know. I'm not really on board with the Tibbs replacement of being just Tibbs, but worse, as in Mike Budenholzer or Michael Malone. They're just basically the exact same guy.
Well, Michael
So-
Malone won a championship.
What about Dan
Yeah.
Hurley, the former neighbor?
Yeah, Dan
Yeah.
Hurley. 5 minutes down the road. How about that?
I don't know. Per sources, he would be a terrible NBA coach. So
He would be a terrible NBA
yeah,
coach.
that would
Just
be
stand on
fantastic.
business there.
What about New
Um,
York? Somebody who reinvigorated New York in the
Rick
college
Pitino?
basketball season. Yeah,
I think that would be actually a really good hire, but never would happen.
I think.
Nah.
it's
Yeah, I
good
think
for
could
the-
coach the NBA. Dan Hurley,
I
don't
saw
think can do that
I saw
transition.
something. They were like, people were saying they're gonna try and pry Eric Spoelstra from Pat Riley,
Okay, we're getting to the unrealistic part.
which would
So,
be hilarious because of
So who are you in
Pat
on?
Riley going to Miami.
Johnny Bryant.
I honestly I don't know.
Okay,
Jason
it's
Kidd.
fresh. It's crazy. We had a stream today of fresh wounds
I know.
here. Clearly, Michael's in a lot of disarray.
I'm in
Ali, is there
denial.
anyone you're interested in? You like to be in these rumor circles? Anyone you're looking to see to be the new Knicks head coach?
I follow a few UConn people, and they all think Dan Hurley's going to actually take the call this time. On Twitter, I mean, I follow.
I don't know why you would not take the job to coach LeBron, and then you're taking the job to coach like Jalen Brunson.
I agree. I think he knows.
I know
he's
it's the
he wants
region,
a
but
job
like
too.
I don't know. I don't see
I don't
it.
really think he would leave UConn after they just had a shitty year too. I don't know. I think they got two top like 10 recruits coming in.
Yeah, didn't McNeely come back or something? I don't know.
Yeah,
All right,
McNeely sucks, but he's in the draft.
we've got some comments to get to, and then we can wrap up on this Knicks series. Takes a long time. So this is an interesting take. Pat McAfee is better than Stephen A. Honestly, at this point, I hate Pat McAfee. I've always hated Pat McAfee, but Stephen A has really took a long downhill turn for me the past couple of years. I will have to disagree with this statement, though. I still got Stephen A. Stephen A has given us some of the best memes. Pat McAfee only has the one good moment of him doing College Game Day with the Georgia-Bama game. That's the only Pat McAfee moment that I
That's
care
my
about.
favorite thing ever.
Michael, you notoriously have stated on this podcast a couple of times you hate Stephen A. What are your thoughts on him versus Pat McAfee?
I got Pat McAfee all day,
All right,
without a doubt in my mind.
Gabe.
I got Stephen A, but it is getting closer. He's been pretty rough.
It's sad to get it. Yeah.
He's been
Ali?
just bad.
Both are cinema.
Oh boy. We have another viewer in the chat with us who started the show without me, who somehow thinks that all my podcasts revolve around his life. It's Greg. We did start the show. You missed a lot of Knicks breakdown. You can use the rewind feature or hit the replay feature to catch all that. Special message for Ali. Congratulations on graduating.
Thanks, Greg.
Favorite McGann. Here we go with this bullshit.
Yes, sir.
The chat's eating it up. Greg has his take. Johnny Bryant probably for the Knicks head coaching job.
I mean, I could see it happening, but I kind of also, I think he's kind of like a lock to go to Phoenix.
Okay.
Maybe he reunites with Julius in Phoenix when the Timberwolves trade for KD.
Okay. Katie and Ant, I would love that. Any final
That would be
thoughts
cinema.
around the panel before we move on to our Western Conference series on Knicks Pacers? Honestly, this brought all the entertainment. The Western series is a little bit less entertaining. So
Facts.
props to the Knicks. Honestly, gave us two of the best playoff series of this season so far. Probably two of the top three at least, depending on what your mileage is on the maybe top four if you like the Thunder
Denver.
Yeah, or the well, that was like blowout game 7, like that left the sour taste in your mouth. Also with the Denver
Yeah,
Clippers
but it
series.
got to game 7. Like
I
none of
will
the
say about
others
the
did.
Knicks, something crazy about the Knicks is like they only really got blown out in like 2 or 3 games throughout this whole playoffs. Like the Celtics had that game 3 where they just destroyed them, and then well, I guess game 5 they kind of destroyed them too. But the Knicks, like they were always in it, so I got to give respect to that. It wasn't like they were losing blowouts as some of these playoff series tend to go. So, final thoughts, Pacers, Knicks, anything before we move on? All right, to the West, the best Western. The Thunder versus the Timberwolves. Quick series. Thunder, went 7 with the Nuggets. I feel like that was more their true test versus the Timberwolves. I think we were all pretty much on the Thunder winning this series. Michael, you had the Thunder in the finals originally. So I think, Gabe, you've been preaching about how the Thunder are going to win the finals as well. So not a surprise to many. I think me and Ali were definitely rooting for Ant and the Timberwolves. I don't know, Mikey, what your rooting interest was.
Who did you guys have coming out of the West again?
The Lakers.
Oh, right.
The Los Angeles Lakers. Yo, give me Luka, LeBron off 10 mil next year, giving up 10 mil a cap, and we're cooking. Reeves is gonna have a breakout year. Connect, learn the name.
I don't think
Nonetheless,
Reeves will be on the Lakers next year.
If all the things you said tonight are true, then we're in for a cinema offseason with Shams bombs happening left and right.
Shams.
Shams bomb.
Oh my God, I can't pronounce anything right. I just cut my hand too.
Sham.
Shy T. The pronunciations don't matter when you're reading them on Twitter. Nonetheless, let's break down this series. So, not the most exciting series in the world. Seemed like the Timberwolves kind of just ran out of steam. Might be the last hurrah for this specific core around Ant Edwards. I don't know if they're going to try and switch something up. I guess Naz Reid is a free agent. I just learned that today. Not right now, but a couple hours ago.
He's a restricted free agent.
Yeah, so he's probably staying.
They got a lot of restricted free agents.
No, that ownership is cheap.
Ali, you've been
They
a
got new
fan.
ownership. What do you mean?
Yeah, Mark Laurie and
Yeah,
A-Rod.
yeah. The Connolly GM thing, he's cheap.
Okay.
That's why they got rid of Cat, was to save money.
Yeah, well, that was a good move for them.
Yeah, that was a good move, honestly.
Good move for both sides.
I would say are we talking about the offseason later? Because I would say they have to re-sign Julius after this and give him the qualifying offer.
We can give him the eulogy.
No, I think
we'll have our off-season podcast.
All right.
Well, I mean, we can talk about we've talked about all the teams after they've gotten eliminated, what their off-season.
You checking my friend is posting on Snapchat.
Yeah, I was gonna ask. So, very close friend of Chet Holmgren on Snapchat. What's your takeaway from?
Still nothing.
Thunder Timberwolves.
Grown.
No takeaways. I'm not surprised by this. That game 3 game was kind of stupid. So the one that the Wolves blew them out. I think the Wolves are kind of in an interesting spot next year because Conley was pretty bad this series, I feel like. And then you would expect Dillingham to kind of fill in, but he's just so small. I don't know. And then Terrence Shannon Jr. was pretty good, though.
They got dogs on the bench.
That's their Nikhil
Terrence
Alexander-Walker replacement.
Yeah, I mean, other than that, I'm not surprised that the Thunder won, and Caruso and the whole guards just no guard has had a good series against the Thunder, and I'm not sure that they ever will with that core that they have of like perimeter defenders.
What about superstar Halliburton?
No. I predicted Thunder in 5 against the Pacers. I still stand by that.
Hey, we're cutting ahead here.
This was last week's pod.
Gabe, we'll go to you. There's been a lot of things said about Shea and the way he plays basketball recently, how it's not entertaining. You've been vocal in the chat about how, this Thunder team did beat your favorite team, the Grizzlies. So what's kind of your, I don't want to say anger, but like express some of that here, what's not great to watch about this Thunder team? And it looks like this might be the chance to get them, where they're all young and on rookie contracts or whatever.
First, they're not getting got, first of all. But
no, that's what I'm saying. Like would be the year to get them, and then they're just going to get better and better.
Basically, it just comes like you can't touch Shea when you're playing defense on him. And then on the other side, they get away with a lot of reaching in, hacking, swatting, especially on the big men. I mean, the Grizzlies got swept, so it didn't really matter. But they were slapping the crap out of Jaren Jackson the entire series, and they did the same thing to Jokic. It's just Jokic is way better than Jaren Jackson. So, but I mean, that's what it boils down to. Like, you're watching Jaden McDaniels get frustrated because anytime he bumps him, they call a foul, and then you got to play defense different the whole game. Like, people think it's just the free throws, but like when you get called for 2 quick fouls early on, like it changes the way you play defense the whole game. So he's walking into mid-range buckets and stuff. Where on the flip side, like Ant Edwards has to work hard for every single shot he gets, like through the contact. And it is what it is, though. I mean, they've been letting it go this whole year for the Thunder, so I didn't really expect anything much to change. And the Timberwolves blew it. They had their I think it was game 4, close game, and you have Jaden McDaniels, DiVincenzo, and Alexander Walker, who like all went off, and Edwards and Randall showed up like with awful shooting splits. And like if you have all your role players show up in that crucial of a game, like your stars have to come along with it. That should be the expectation. But yeah.
Michael,
Bro, I just need to interrupt. I'm in a group me for my new peers, my new law school students, and they're setting up a bowling get together after orientation in August.
okay,
Nice.
so they're normal people. Michael, your takeaway from this series? Were you watching this series, or were you too nervous to like watch basketball?
I definitely watched. I didn't watch it as closely as the next series, obviously, but I did watch, and I also felt as though Anthony Edwards has a lot of growing to do in terms of his offensive basketball, as well as Julius Randle decided to be Nick's Julius again after having great first 2 series. He loves to put the ball on the floor, back to the basket, and then get it stolen. The second he tries to do any move, like he's the most turnover prone post player I've ever seen in my life. Except for that one first half in game 2 or maybe game 1 where he had like 25 or something like that. I don't know, definitely be an interesting offseason for the Timberwolves. The Thunder, like, I don't know, they're just kind of gonna win. I feel like it's just kind of what's gonna happen. They're like SGA was great. He can hit any mid-range shot he wants. Like if he got to be a 40% three-point shooter, he'd be easily the best player in the league. But Jokic still got him because he doesn't have like the step back 3 arsenal, like I don't know, James Harden or something like that. If he added that to his game, he'd be the best player in the league. But their defense, obviously, we saw Gabe talked about it. Like they get away with hacking a lot, but it's because they play such aggressive defense, and they always do. And they always say like you can't call them all, which is true. Like the ref's not going to call a foul on every single possession to start a game. Like it's just never going to happen. They're going to call the egregious ones, especially in the playoffs. Like this is, I mean, I've been a like hardcore NBA fan for probably like 5, 6, 7 years, something like that, and this is like the most physical playoff basketball I've seen. So they're definitely letting them get away with a lot of stuff. But you know, Thunder are inevitable, and yeah, that's basically what it is.
All right. Well, is there anything to add on to this series? Because all 3 of you have just alluded to our last segment. Like, all right, spoil the pod. Anything on the Timberwolves end that we want to address? And Edwards had some games where he didn't show up. Seems to be, you know, maybe we should just let our superstars have some off games. You know, we don't need to criticize them on Twitter. I know NBA Twitter is a nasty place, but
You're
leave
not a
Ant alone.
superstar if you have off games.
Okay, so there's maybe one
Prove me
superstar in the
wrong.
NBA. His name's LeBron James. So Jalen Brunson's definitely not a superstar.
depends on your definition of superstar, but based on that,
He
yeah.
was shooting tour dates or whatever on the front thing. All right, so nothing else to add in the Timberwolves. We go to the chat with some off. This is some off topics, so heads up on this. When I was describing the Lakers, I used the word "we." I love how this pisses people off. I always use "we" with my other favorite teams. I am a New England sports fan, but I find it hard to just sometimes watch sports and not have a rooting interest. So I do usually like to have a team that I root for. I like LeBron James. I like Anthony Edwards. My other teams, I'm trying to think. I did like the Grizzlies when they had Dylan Brooks, but now that's transferred to the Rockets. I have other teams, and I can give my NFL and other teams if you want, but I do say we, gets everyone mad. So my Lakers next year versus my Celtics 2026, it was destined. This one for football, Gabe, this will be your first piece of football content on the channel. Thoughts on Steelers tight end Donald Parham tearing his ACL? Does Rodgers no longer sign there now? You can answer the first question, and then we'll go. I guess I was going to go to Mikey about the Aaron Rodgers thing, but your take on Donald Parham tearing his ACL?
I mean, that's obviously unfortunate. Never want to see anyone get injured, but in regards to the second part of the question, I don't think that has any impact.
Yeah, if anything, this will incite him to sign Robert Tonyan, and then he'll be even more inclined to sign.
Yeah.
Question from Greg, football question as well. Will the Panthers win the Super Bowl? So you tried to trick me on this and do the PMT thing about the theory that we talked about earlier today. They said the Panthers, every time something X and X happens, the Panthers make the Super Bowl. So I don't think they're going to win the Super Bowl. They might make it due to some weird stuff that seems to happen every time the Panthers make the Super Bowl. If so, cite your source. Just said it. Pardon my take. Go L1. I believe this is in regards to the law school, Ali.
Maybe.
Okay. And you're doing a good podcast when your own person on the channel is in the chat. Anyone got a Peacock account I can borrow? Greg, you got Peacock. Yes, but I don't know my password. I think it's linked to Fios. So just beautiful, wonderful content there. We'll head to one more comment. Nope, find the password. Okay. One more segment that's been heavily alluded to. The finals will be the Oklahoma City Thunder versus the Indiana Pacers. Seemingly, no one here is really convinced on the Pacers having a shot at this thing. So I'd love to hear your rationale first, without giving your official prediction, and then we'll all go around and give our official predictions for this NBA Finals. We'll start with you, Gabe.
I mean, the Thunder have been the best team all year. I've been telling you the whole time. Specifically, I know we've had conversations.
It's true.
And I mean, the Nuggets had their shot, and obviously Game 7 was awful. But I just don't think Indiana has enough to keep up with everything the Thunder are going to throw at them. And you have to play perfect basketball to beat the Thunder in a game. I know the Nuggets had their two miracle fourth quarters with Aaron Gordon game winners and stuff. But I mean, outside of that, you have to play perfect basketball. Like the Timberwolves had the game where they just shot the lights out. And beyond that, Indiana's gonna, I mean, they have the tools to win a game, definitely, but in terms of consistency, I think one of the problems they're gonna run into is obviously they like to get the ball bouncing around, passing a ton of passes on offense, keep it moving, keep it flowing. But that's what the Thunder defense capitalizes on. The more you pass, the more you're gonna put the ball in trouble against all the deflections and stuff they get. And they're one thing to be cool to watch is Hallie doesn't turn it over that much, but the Thunder's turnover ratio this year is insane. They have the playoff record by a bunch already before the finals. So it'd be interesting to see how he does against the pressure they're going to put on him specifically the whole time. But then I don't think the Pacers have enough.
Michael, hello.
Hello.
Gabe was just giving his explanation on why he thinks the Pacers don't have enough ammo to defeat the Thunder in the NBA Finals. We're going to go around and give some analysis and then give our official picks. So if you want to go next. seems like there's not a lot of hope from Gabe's side for the Pacers in this one, although he is interested to see the turnover discrepancy with the Pacers not turning it over that much and the Thunder being able to turn teams over quickly. So what is your take for this NBA Finals?
True. That is definitely a thing to look at. The Pacers are like, whenever you see a like ball movement team like the Pacers or Golden State or whoever you want to pick who's like a heavy ball movement team, you always expect them to be also a high turnover team. But the Pacers aren't. Halliburton's like the best passer versus turnover point guard probably in the league. He's like, that's something he does very well. And the Thunder's defense is going to allow certain things and try and bait him and them, the Pacers, into less efficient offense. And that less efficient offense might be just letting him shoot step backs or letting him drive all the way to the paint. And not helping off of anyone. And if that's the case, then that's the way this series goes. I think the Thunder can easily win in 5. If the Pacers can get the Thunder to change like defensive schemes because that style of offense isn't working, then I think it'll be a longer series. But the Thunder have so many bodies that they can throw at Halliburton and Siakam to a lesser extent. That's going to be very interesting to see if they can actually get the Thunder to change defensive schemes.
Ali?
I mean, they kind of said it best. I agree with what they said, and there's not much more to it other than I think everyone probably knows the Thunder are going to win.
So before we get to our official predictions, will you guys be watching this NBA Finals? Because it's very two low market teams. Like, I'm not sure if I want to tune in. I only like watching
They're
big
trying to get
markets.
my work for free. Like,
what?
Look at this chat.
Oh my God. This isn't a law school group me podcast. We're talking about the NBA. And you ruined my punchline about the ratings police. Anyways, I don't know. I'm going to give Indiana more of a shot than you guys are. I think, you go down the line and maybe if you go guy for guy, the Thunder have them at almost pretty much every guy. But there's something magical about this Indiana team and the state of Indiana when it comes to basketball. Like, is there a chance that this is just a destiny run from Halliburton and we get like a random Halliburton championship and then the Thunder win the next like 4 championships? Like, that wouldn't surprise me. And maybe, I am hoping the Thunder lose so I can bet on them to win next year for sure. Well, I've been thinking about this. What if the Thunder lose and then, Shea's in the parking lot and he calls up Giannis? Like, they have the picks, they have the ammo to do it. They could easily trade away.
Call up KD. They say, come and get that ring again. Come and ring chase again.
Maybe no, but KD wouldn't do that again. I don't think he's stupid enough to do that. I don't know. I think Indiana, it's tough, but I just love the way that they're so like balanced throughout. They play 10 or 11 guys. I think that's wonderful basketball. I think we don't just need to dismiss them. Like, they've earned it to make it to this finals. Granted, the Eastern Conference, I did call it the Eastern Conference earlier. But they went through the wars, and I don't know if the Thunder have earned their spot yet. We'll see, though. I'm excited to watch. Before we get into our official predictions, we have some comments from the chat. So the L1 comment was for law school, confirmed. Ali, a comment for you that you've already responded to in the chat, but feel free to address this on the live stream. Once you graduate, can you help me with my lawsuit against Colin?
Nothing to address.
Okay. What is the lawsuit for? Harass me, feel very uncomfortable around him. Sounds like pretty blanket statements and not really much substance there, but maybe this day will happen in court. Yeah, I can help, but no family or friends discount. Sorry, I'm in debt. Understandable. If you take the case and lose, do I still need to pay you? Or if you win, this is okay. If it's a civil case, then I get 30% of your earnings. Maybe a question for Michael or somebody. Michael's the only one who cares about MLB. When is MLB conversation happening on the Dubcast? Probably never. I think I did a bracket preview and it was pretty wrong about that in the fall. I just feel like I don't even know like the baseball takes to say. Like I know the torpedo bat. That was like 2 months ago at this point. It's Paul Skeens and Tariq Skubal, like are great baseball players. I can't sit here and just spew takes like I can for NBA, even though I don't really watch the NBA. But I'm more like wrapped into NBA, what's going on. Baseball, maybe playoffs could be a thing if we can string together a group of guys. I don't know. Maybe I'll hit you on the side about that. But okay, Michael's into it. Deflecting much? I don't really think so. I think I've laid out my facts pretty well. I don't want to implicate myself here on this thing. Canceled Dubcast. I'm actually pretty worried about being canceled at some point if people go back into the archives and find.
Oh my god, bro!
What? If this is about the law school, I'm kicking you off the stage.
No, saying you're scared of being canceled. That's
anyone
crazy.
can be canceled, bro. It's 2025. Cancel, like I feel like we're over the hump with cancel culture, right? Like I don't think I'm in jeopardy. All right,
guys, I'm about to post on Instagram. Everyone go and like it.
Okay. It's time to give our official NBA Finals predictions. Gabe, you can give your. Actually, we'll start with Michael because Michael already said the amount of games. So we know your pick's going to be a certain amount of team.
I gave options. I didn't say. All right.
I thought you had Thunder in 5.
Well, I said they could win in 5 if this thing happened, but it could be more if this other thing happened. If you were listening to me.
I was, but that was like you were kind of giving off.
But I'll take them in 6, the Thunder.
So winning in Indiana, okay.
Because of the fact that I picked them in 6 over the Celtics, and I feel like if I get the games right, that counts for something. Does it?
Okay. Yes, it does. But I mean, we'll get to it in a second.
I already clinched.
Gabe, your prediction for Thunder Pacers.
Thunder in 5. I'll be rooting for the Pacers, though. I hope they prove me wrong. But yeah, Thunder in 5.
Ali?
Yeah, Thunder in 5. I think Pacers will win game 4. And then J-Dub, what?
Gentleman sweep. That'd be a terrible series to watch.
Yeah, J-Dub already said that they want to win it at home, so I could see them going up 3-0 and then shitting the bed on purpose.
That's something an NBA team 1 game away from a championship would do, is just let a game fly.
Bro, he said what he said. He's probably going to repost something on his Finsta later, too, about wanting to win at home.
I'll be different. I'll take the Pacers in 6. Miracles do happen. I think a lot of people are sleeping on this series. At this point, this is the last NBA offseason, our last podcast before the offseason. I'm rooting for the Pacers, so I might as well pick them to win. Halliburton out-auras Shea somehow. I don't know. I think you go down the team line from starting guy to 11th guy. Pacers are worse everywhere, but they're Indiana scrap. They're built for this. I'm not sure if the Thunder are yet. So maybe I'll be proven wrong on that. And thus concludes our NBA Finals predictions. We do have a couple more segments to get into here. This bullshit's still going on in the chat. Should I release the tapes? Go ahead, bro. Get them out now while I'm still not famous, so it doesn't matter. Let's see your emails. If you want to see my emails, it's freaking like Popeyes and DoorDash hitting me up every day. Actually, I've unsubscribed to a lot of things. Who are the biggest Dubcast supporters? Ironically, it is Greg and Ali in the chat. Most of the time for the football streams. I do have some other supporters who watch me on Spotify. They don't really pop in the live. Nope. There are other people. I've actually, you know what?
No.
I'll take this time to reflect, because we've come a long way in the Dubcast live streaming. We're now at 82 subscribers. And Survivor, we just broke 605 views on my Survivor 48 season 48 tier list. So Dubcast is on the way up. It's been over a year, but this is going to be a slow grind. Also, shout out to others out there like Freeland. Connor's been in the chat a couple times. Other people who Mark Halloran's been in the big support of the Dubcast. He's appeared. He's called in multiple times. Nick Sisson. There's many names out there to thank, and the train is only getting going.
Shout out Nick Sisson.
Okay. Greg, probably just us and Ali. It's 8. The fuck yeah, we're gonna get out of here shortly. No mention to me. Need to schwitz. Okay. So our last thing is our bracket update. So Gabe, you weren't able to make any of the streams before this one.
Oh my God, kick me out now. I don't want to hear this.
We're glad to have you here. How did your bracket end up doing, Gabe? Because we weren't able to get your official bracket on stream. Who'd you have in the finals? Were you close?
I had the Thunder in the finals over the Celtics. I think in 6, just like Mike just said. Obviously, I didn't have the Timberwolves making it as far as they did. I got swept into the Lakers hype for one round. But other than that, it's pretty solid. And obviously, I didn't have the Knicks. And Mike,
Yeah.
that's a shame, Mike. You should have had the Knicks.
I
Yeah,
know.
no home cooking there. So we
Very
had
sad.
coming into this round, we had Michael with the lead, or Ali with the 1 point lead over Michael. But if the Thunder advance, would win. So congratulations, Michael. You are the bracket champion. I'm not sure how much we said we put on this, but you Venmoed us $5 because you said if something happens, the event. So I'm pretty sure you're just gonna get that money back.
Who's
And
Harry Sisson? Is that who I'm thinking it is?
guys, this is
Not
Michael's
guys.
crowning moment of the bracket champion.
Yeah,
Did
exactly.
you win football too, or was that somebody else? I think Mark might have won
I
football.
think Mark or Tunde did.
Yeah. So congratulations, Michael, on the NBA bracket, best expert of the Dubcast. And if we don't see you in the near future on any shows or anything, we will hear from you for the NFL season.
Absolutely.
Chat is flooding before we end out here. If you have anything else you want to add, think of it now. Check out my form signed up to be on. I don't know what that is. Oh, the Google form. Yeah. Greg Small was featured on the podcast for NCAA bracket. Our brackets were horrible for that. Is Nick Sisson?
Guess whose bracket was so good and you refused to have a woman on your show?
Yeah, like you haven't been in the last 4 shows. Is Nick Sisson related to Harry Sisson? No, he's not. Do I need to fill out the form again to be considered? No, I'm just really bad at messaging people. I need to go back to the form. Just benched 170. Congratulations. I feel weak. Okay, so that's a bad thing, I guess. Anything else from our panel here before we sign off? Okay.
No.
So that'll do it. NBA streams in the book. Should we come back after the finals and do one more stream, or
No, we should just do maybe a off-season grade and then a free agency recap. Thoughts?
Yeah, that was a fun podcast. You guys are more than willing to join me and Ali on that one.
That was after the draft, was it?
We took a while. It was like even after like the Nuggets signed Westbrook type thing. Like it was the whole
Yeah,
offseason.
you were praising Dario Saric, I think.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I know.
Hey, I was right. The Nuggets still made it to the second round. Nothing happened, so I gave him like a B or a B plus. So I was right. Last question from the chat: how's the cruise? Beautiful, wonderful experience. Great weather. Got drunk a lot. It was good. It was a good time. Ali.
About to post on Instagram.
She's Instagramming. She's Instagramming right now about the cruise.
Watching his yearly cruise post, not to flex.
Okay. All right, so that's it for the NBA until we'll see you in the midsummer after all the Mr. Charania, I'll say that, bombs, so I don't get his name wrong. So it's been a pleasure. Thank you guys all for joining us here on this live stream. Thanks to our panel sticking it out, and thanks, Mikey. Tough day for New York culture, but nonetheless, we survived. He won the bracket, so there's a little icing on top of the season. Peace out, guys.